Welcome to this week's 2 Minutes with Brad and Mark, because I'm going to have Brad do most of the talking and the teaching today. It's June, the 1st of June.
Yep.
We should focus for 1 month, and I'm saying we as every franchisee, as far as making sure they get the cash that they deserve of jobs that have already been done.
Yep.
And I'm talking about stuff that they forgot to get billed. And I'm not going to blame a franchisee whatsoever, because as a franchisee, as you and I know, there's so many hats to wear. If you've got a person doing a job, and Brad, I want you to tell me a real life example from your life. If you've got someone that you've trusted to do the job and they're not doing the job, a lot of times you won't know. If you've hired somebody to do a ISR position and because your ISR left and your old ISR was doing the billing, I'm going to guarantee you there's money there. So talk about the scenarios, would you?
Yeah, there's a couple. And one thing Larry always said was inspect what you expect. So if you expect your books to be perfectly clean and your AR to be perfectly current, everything like that, if you're not inspecting that, well then how can you ever know? Once you do inspect it, then it gives you a real life picture.
Okay.
So one of the reports we can do is pull an open orders report. Those will tell you all the open orders that you have out there that you haven't billed yet, that haven't been invoiced yet. And that's a good place to start, to look through those, because you might have some jobs that you've done already that you've maybe even collected money on, but you haven't invoiced yet.
Okay.
Now, another place to look at is your accounts receivable and your aging report. Now, your aging report basically tells you what things you've invoiced, but you may or may not have collected money on that. So one of the things it pulls is all the accounts that you have. All the body shops, all those different churches or schools, or any kind of account that you have in your system. But it also gives you your cash customers, and that's a good place to look, because a lot of times you've done the work, you've billed it, and sometimes you collected the money, and sometimes you haven't collected the money. When I was first tasked with Larry in accounting out of college, he gave me a whole big pile of paper and said, here's our aging report, fix it.
Because he knew there was something wrong.
He knew there was something wrong. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, we look at our P&Ls every month, our profit and loss statements. The P&L states really, did your company make money that month or not?
Okay.
It doesn't give you the cash position of how your company is. That's the balance sheet. And a lot of times people ignore the balance sheet. They really shouldn't. But they tie together between the income statement and the balance sheet. So the income statement say, hey, we had a great month. And a lot of people say, hey, we had a great month, but I don't feel like I have any cash in the bank. Well, we're missing something. So let's dive in. Let's figure out with our accounts receivable, are we just not getting paid? So in our case, we weren't getting paid, but we're billing a lot of money. And really that was the fault of the accountant for not following up on this stuff. Larry knew something was going on, and it was my job to figure out what was going on. We found that there was so much stuff out there that we either forgot to send him an invoice, the accountant on the other side had maybe gotten the invoice, forgot to enter it, or had lost the invoice, or got lost in the mail, or whatever the excuse may be. Sometimes, and most of the times, it was just, oh yeah, I forgot to pay that. And it was just a friendly reminder of, hey, I was going through my books and it looked like we've got an outstanding invoice for you. Do you have the invoice yet, or would you like me to send it over? And then once we did that, when do you think I could expect payment on that? I mean, it was as simple as that, and it cleared up all of that stuff out there, and it improved our cash flow immediately.
Yeah, this just happened to me, Brad. I had some work done at my house last November, and I got the bill 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And it was a couple $100.
Right.
And as I look back, no, I never got a bill from them before.
Yep.
So I know I didn't pay it before.
Right. And it wasn't like you didn't want to pay it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They just didn't bill me.
Yeah.
So I had no problem writing them the check, and
right.
they didn't charge me a late fee.
No,
for
that's
not billing
good.
me for 6
That's good.
months.
And I think we see that a lot of times with the people we deal with. Sometimes, we have stubborn people that don't want to pay it, but most of the time people just forgot to pay it. They're so busy just like us that they just need a friendly reminder.
How bad was the accountant that you had, that Larry had? It was bad?
It was bad. It was like 100+ pages of my accounts receivable.
That was legit?
That was legit, yeah. It was a lot of pages. It was a book.
So what happens with the franchisee when they pull the report and it's this thick? How do they find out what's legit and what's not?
You got to go through one bite at a time. Like they always say, eat an elephant one bite at a time, and I had to go through. There were certain low-hanging fruits that I could see, accounts that we worked with all the time that just had forgot to pay a bill that was maybe, they were current on all their stuff except for one invoice that was past 120 days past due, and they just totally forgot to pay it.
Okay.
So there's some low-hanging fruit that I would attack first. I wouldn't attack the things that are 3-4 years old, if you have any like that, because those are going to be the harder ones. And then the other thing is to pay attention of the things that are just slipping into the over 30 column. If someone's just past due, just late, well, you're not a bank. You're not extending them credit.
Right.
I mean, you need to get paid. So calling them up, giving them friendly reminders, a great place to start.
The money's there. I guarantee you, every Glass Doctor franchisee has money they can collect today.
Yeah.
I want you to have a great first half of the year. It's June. It might take you 3 weeks to get this done. So I thought we'd start with the very 1st of June so that you can have this great month. How tough is it going to be?
It's going to be tough, but it's going to be worth it.
Very good. Collect some money for you. Have a nice vacation somehow. I know you're going to be busy. It was a tough first few months of the year. Have a great first 6 months, but make sure you get paid for all the money that you deserve. Thanks. I'll see you next week.
Have a good one, guys.